right, so we just went over our morning work. Remember, morning work, right when you walk in the door, fill out your planner, turn in homework if you have it, do your morning work. Today, we are working on lesson 1.2, order of operations. Our goal today is write and evaluate numerical expressions using the order of operations. We talked about last class that I really want to make sure you understand what that means. So, today means mainly if I give you something like this. I'm going to a numerical expression. This is a numerical expression. Numerical means number. An expression like if someone smiles at you, they didn't tell you they're happy or that they like you, but you got their expression, you kind of know what it means. Numerical expression means, hey, I have a problem, I don't have the answer. So they told me what it means, like a smirk or a smile means, hey, something happened, but they didn't smile. It's like, I'm happy. So here, I have a problem, but I didn't tell you the answer yet. Okay? So numerical expression is just a problem without the answer, only using numbers. In algebra, we do something called algebraic expressions, and that will have a variable in it. And using order of operations, we have to learn why do we even have order of operations. Now, our criteria, how are we going to make sure we reach today's goal, is mainly the first two. We're not really going to look at the third one too much. The first one says, explain why there is a need for standard order of operations. So what do we care? Why? The second one is, we're going to learn the steps to them, and we're going to practice it. That's really all there is to today's. Why do we have it, and how do we do it? The first one, we're going to do right now. So it's going to be right now in our exploration. Does anyone remember what do we do during exploration? What happens when we do exploration? Am I teaching? What happens during exploration? You're going to talk to each other. I'm going to give you a scenario. We're going to do something. I really need you guys to work. My one group, I started hearing side conversations and they were joking about stuff. They didn't get much work done at the end of class because they wasted time. My second group did very well. They were checking with each other and working with people in their table groups. So we are going to do that right now. What I need you to do for me is let's take your notebook or your workbook and you need to open to 1.2. Order of operations. Now, while I'm on 1.2, you can push everything else off to the side. We see our learning target at the top. We see the success criteria we just went over. And it says exploration. Here's what I want you to do. You're going to work not just with a partner, but your table. I need you to answer each expression, but how they tell you. Now, if you notice A, it says 3 plus 2 times 2. And over here it says 3 plus 2 times 2. You and your partners are going to answer both. I want you to answer all of these questions. On this first one, it says they want you to do addition first, and then they want you to multiply. This one wants you to multiply and then add. Listen to my instructions carefully because then I'm going to have you work. Follow their instructions and answer it how it says. When you are done, I want you guys to discuss which one do you think is the right answer and why. Okay? You don't have to. I'm going to let you keep it in your workbook. All right, any questions? All right, so the one I'm going to focus on right now after your groups have went through this, I'm going to look at the first 4. Okay, I know there's other ones, but it's okay. For what we have to do, we have to discuss this. So if you check your work with mine and how I showed my work, you should have got 10 and 7, 45 and 9. Okay? Now, which one is the correct answer on the first one? So for A, which one is correct? Dia?
Multiply then add.
Good. How about for B? Which one was correct? Elijah, which one do you think, bud?
Multiply then subtract, but I don't understand because we did it and it was 3 times 3, which equals 9, and then you minus that by 18, which would equal negative 9. How is that 9?
18 minus 18. 18 is before it. So it's still before it. So you do like 3 times 3. That is behind the 18. So that would be 9. And then since the 18 is before it, you just do 18 minus 9.
That's absolutely perfect. And you know what I just love about that? I gotta go ahead and throw these bucks out there because where's your thing, Jackson?
Right next to this.
Oh, you're right next to it. I love it. Great job. That's exactly what we want to see in the classroom. You guys are talking to each other. He explained it, and it's good for our little reference. So if you didn't understand what Jackson was saying, Elijah asked a great question. Actually, I'm probably going to give you question, point 2 because you did an amazing job. You're feel free to ask questions. But they did 3 times 3 was 9, and they said the 9 minus the 18, you got negative 9. Jack was obviously listening, like we talked about active listening, and said, oh, not calling you Jack. You're Jackson, he's Jack. Gotta get these right. But Jackson was listening and said, well, no, it's because 18 came first. So you rewrite it as 18 minus 9. And I loved it because Elijah, the reason I'm going to give him one was he was brave enough to ask a question when he missed it. And then when Jackson was talking, he listened to him. And he's like, oh, I get it. That's learning. That's perfect. So, awesome job, both of you. Now, before I move on, let's look at this. This is answered our first criteria. What's the matter? Why do I do order of operations? Like, you're right. These are the first 2 because of order of operations. So what? Do I really need to learn order of operations? Is it important in real life?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Accountants, me personally, when I've set up things for a party that we were doing, there's different things where you have more than one variable that's happening. And so I have to first take this many people, I'm going to add to this, and then I have to times it by this. For instance, we know all the time when we have to buy stuff. And I'm like, okay, everyone gets, let's say, 3 snacks. Okay, well, first I have to say, okay, well, there's 15 people here. And if I would add 7 more, do 15 plus a 7, then times a 3. We set up equations all the time for real life scenarios. We do have it happen all the time. I told the one class, if you guys didn't know, the Kansas City Royals are up for sale right now. Glass is the owner of them, and he's thinking about selling. And it's probably going through to this man named Sherman. Now, Glass bought the Royals a number of years ago for $96 million. Now, when he's putting them up for sale, did he just go, I want $112 million? No. His people came up with the price of it, and they would have used order of operations. They didn't just go, how much is the team worth? And there's one simple answer. A lot of factors go into it. Like even right now, they're talking how next season they're just getting a new TV contract. TV companies pay you to air your games because then they get people and people buy their cable. And they're getting a new TV deal for like 10 years for $50 million a year. Well, that's just one of the revenues. So they look at all these things, they put them all together into a big equation, and when they can insert all the numbers, they get a final answer. Right now, they think they're going to sell it for $1 billion. So he spent $96 million, and he gets $1 billion. Good investment. So order of operations is important, so we all get the same answer. I can give this equation to any mathematician, and we get the same answer. If we didn't follow the order of operations, we would never know if we get consistency. And when we deal with things such as medicine, and doctors are inputting things, and they have an order of operation, giving someone 45 milligrams of something compared to 9, would be pretty important. Okay? So, we use order of operations so we have consistency and right answers. Before you start your homework today, I'm going to give you a problem that is called the Facebook problem. Facebook recently had a simple problem dealing with order of operations. 4 numbers. And they had the order of operations and it lit up. People making comments. The answer is 1. The answer is 9. And they're arguing. They said it's either 1 or 9 and people argued. And I about went nuts. My wife told me I'm not allowed to comment because I was like yelling at the computer. One of the people that posted on it was my friend, and she is a teacher. She's actually a former teacher. She actually just retired. But she was like, oh, it all depends on. I was like, no, it doesn't. It's math. You follow the rules, there's not an argument. And you'd see people's comments, and they'd be like, well, if you do it the old way. No! Math, the old and new way doesn't matter. If you follow the rules of math, it works. It's not like my grandpa took this in, great-grandpa would have done this problem in 1700, and the numbers represent different things now in 2000. No! A person doing this and showing representation in 1705 would equal the exact same thing in 2019. We're going to look at it, and I'm going to show you how 6th graders are smarter than a lot of people that were on Facebook.
What was the answer?
You'll see. You're going to have to show it to me.
Was it actually on there though?
Well, people argued about it. And some people had it right, and a lot of people had it wrong, and a lot of people made me so furious. All right, go ahead and put your notebooks to the side. We're going to start our notes. You guys are actually on a pretty good timing. If we can do the next, I want to spend about 10 minutes per example, and then we'd have about our 20-30 minutes to work on homework. 3 examples that we are going to do. I'm going to teach. Remember, on this one, I'm going to teach. You'll do the examples with me. And then you are going to solve, and you'll teach me. Tell me, how did you do it? So I'll do, and you'll do it with me. And then you'll do it with me explaining it. And then you'll do it for your homework. Oops, sorry about this. Should have 3 left. Ooh. Oh, it was not. That's fine. Alright, so once again, we're going to start here on our criteria. We have already explained why we have a standard of order operations. Simply put, so we have consistent answers. So everyone in the world does math the same. Right now, we are going to go ahead and focus on evaluate numerical expressions involving several operations, exponents, and grouping symbols. All that means, if we break down, evaluate means to solve. Numerical expressions, an equation with numbers. So solve a problem that has parentheses or exponents or brackets. It's simple. In my notes, I always put maybe I'll use a pencil instead of a highlighter. I'm going to write my name. Look at that fancy art I made. Ross. Our class period is, we're going to just say 4P, or 4th hour purple, or 4th block purple.
I put B4.
That's fine. And then today's the 28th. Do you have a question, Sonny?
Uh-huh.
What's up?
So don't you do brackets before parentheses?
Yep. So you're going to see how brackets on the outside, so then I only focus on that, and we keep zeroing in each time.
So you do brackets, then parentheses, then the rest of them?
Yeah. So when you get, you'll see, because we'll have brackets. I like that question. All right, first thing I'm going to write down in my notes are 2 things. I'm going to write down PEMDAS, and the one that I really never use, Gemma. Now, to be 100% clear, there's not much difference. It's a word. I don't care which one you use to help you, because you're going to see here in a second how they mean the same thing. The most important thing is we work just like we read. We look left to right. And you'll see what I mean in a second as we practice. What does the P stand for on PEMDAS? Say it out loud.
Parentheses.
E.
Exponents.
Now, MD, I like to underline it and make that arrow because it's not multiply and then divide. It's multiply or divide. So I always stack them even. Whichever one left to right comes first. And then AS stands for addition, subtraction, and once again, whichever one comes first, I'm working from the left side to the right side. Make sure you're taking the notes with this one. Now, does anyone use Gemma? I never used Gemma in my life, I swear. So, few of you did it. Now let's see what you guys used. What did the G stand for? So, like brackets and parentheses. What did the E stand for?
Exponents.
What did the M stand for?
Multiplication. And division.
And division. And what did the A stand for?
Addition and subtraction.
Is there any difference between the two?
No.
It's just what acronym do you remember and how do you remember it better? That's why I really don't care which one you use. Math has multiple ways. We're following the rules. We did not change any rules. Okay, so let's do example 1. I'm going to show how we should show our work. That's the big thing right now. I want you to take notes with me so you see how your notes should be. Evaluate, which means to solve. My equation is 12 minus 2 times 4. You do not have to do this part, but I taught 4th grade, and I had every one of my 4th graders until they were getting 100% on their homework. Until they could do that, they had to do this. By each problem, they wrote out PEMDAS. Or if I was using Gemma, I'd make them write out Gemma. And the reason is, it was a visual thing. This really helped a lot of my students. So if you struggle with order of operations and you're mixing them around, try this. First, the P was parentheses. Are there any parentheses?
No.
I crossed the P off. Now I'm looking at the equation. Are there any exponents?
No.
Okay, I cross off, and I'm going to draw my straight arrow. Okay, multiplying or dividing. Left to right. 12 minus 2. No. 2 times. Ooh. I'm going to create a funnel. This is what I'd like to see on your work. Because really why I like this, even last hour I had a student come up to work on his homework with me. He got the wrong answer, wasn't checking out on his homework on big ideas. We looked and we were able to see his funnels and we saw exactly where the mistake was. It helps us realize what we're doing. So when I do the funnel, all a funnel does is like I put it down and I can dump things at the top and it all comes out together, right? So I'm going to funnel down 2 times 4. 2 times 4 is what?
8.
Good. I put a 2 times 4 in and I take out an 8. Do you remember how I told you mathematicians can kind of be lazy? We don't want to write a bunch of stuff out. Oh, that's the one thing I didn't do with you. I was going to do a review. So instead of doing 7 times 7, I'm like, I don't want to write 7 times 7. I'm just going to write 7 to the second power. Well, that's what we're doing here. I don't want to write 2 times 4 because I know it means 8. So we're just going to funnel it down. Now, do I have any more multiplication or division? No. Do I have any addition or subtraction?
Yes.
I have 12 minus 8, which is 4. I have a number by itself. That's my answer. That's how I had them visually do PEMDAS. Now, if you are feeling really confident in yourself and you don't want to write that out, that's okay. I'm not going to force you until you're getting like a low score and you keep messing up your steps. Then I will ask you to. Yes, ma'am.
When I do the funnel, I usually do it like I do it, but it comes down into a triangle, and when I do the funnel, it rests.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you can make it a triangle. You can. Yours doesn't have to look exactly. So you're saying like when you add 2 plus 4, you do this.
No. If I have any thing, it always comes down like this. It comes down, so I know how
Oh, you just rewrite it underneath it? That's okay. I can see it. I see what you're doing. You're kind of like stacking it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to be upset with that as long as we can read where your work is. Yes, sir.
I usually do it a little bit different. I kind of curve it like that. And
Yep.
it's just easier.
And that's totally fine. You guys are kind of putting, and this is what you should be doing. You're taking what I'm learning or teaching you, and you're putting your own twist on it. That's fine. All right. Evaluate. Now, here's where you were asking earlier, Hassani, with the brackets. So, first, do we have any brackets or parentheses? Grouping.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to highlight it for you guys right now. Here's a bracket. What the brackets mean says, hey, only focus on this. I'm not even going to pay attention that the equation says 60 divided by. I don't care. All I'm looking at is parentheses 4 plus 2 parentheses times 5. Now that I'm looking at that bracket, I ask my question again. Are there any more parentheses?
Yes.
Yeah. So now I'm zeroed in even more, and I'm going to focus on only 4 plus 2. Okay, inside 4 plus 2, are there any other parentheses?
No.
No. Are there any exponents in 4 plus 2?
No.
Is there any multiplication inside 4 plus 2?
No.
Or division? Is there any addition?
Yes.
So I'm going to funnel this one down. And 4 plus 2 is...
6.
Now here's the big question. If in parentheses it said 4 plus 2, and I told you 4 plus 2 means 6, do I still have to put parentheses around the 6? No, because there's no equation. Parentheses will kind of say like, hey, I have this number, or do this equation first. I have nothing. So I'm going to copy the rest of my equation. 60 divided by, do I need to keep the brackets right now? Yeah, absolutely. I have not simplified everything in the bracket, so I'm going to put the bracket still. 4 plus 2 is just 6 times 5 with the bracket. Well, am I done? Okay, do I have any parentheses? Or brackets? When I say parentheses, I always mean grouping. So do I have any grouping symbols? Yeah. 6 times 5, which is?
30.
Now, once again, do I need the brackets anymore? No, I've simplified it down to one number. They disappear. By the way, that's going to be huge for the people that didn't know how to solve the Facebook question. Then I have 60 divided by 30. Any grouping symbols? Any exponents now? Any multiplication or division?
Yes.
Division.
Oh yeah.
60 divided by 30 is?
2.
That's my final answer. Alright. I'd like you guys to try this now. Do we want to do all of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, this is the one. Okay, so here's what we want to do. I'll pause real quick. Work by yourself. If you're stuck, can you ask your partner? Absolutely. Can you use a calculator to help you?
Yes.
As long as you're showing the work, the calculator can do the computation, you do the steps. I'm going to pause. When your whole group has all 3 answers and you all agree, raise your hand. Okay? You might get a reward. Ready. Begin. We're back to live. Awesome job. That actually went really quick because you guys all worked together. That was awesome. So, who can tell me, I'm done teaching this part, who can tell me what should I do first? It says 7 times 5 plus 3. Basu? Oh, Bantu. It's a sibling. What's your brother? Oh, Sam. Basu is the other one. He was always with Samuel. Okay.
You multiply 7 times 5.
Very good. Multiplication, which is 35.
And then you add, and then you get 20. Sorry, 28. I mean, 28.
Alright, then we do our addition. Perfect. Bantu. Alright, let's do 2 claps and a Ric Flair. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Oh, that was awesome. You guys are so better on the other 2 claps without that so far. Colt, number 2, 28 minus 20 divided by 4.
First you do 28 minus 20, which is 8. And then break down to divided by 4. And 8 divided by 4 is 2.
Awesome. You guys remember 2 claps and a Hulk Hogan.
You never told us.
Good job, brother.
Oh.
Alright, 2 claps and a Hulk Hogan. 1, 2, 3.
Good job, brother.
Okay. Number 3 was the hard one. Had a lot of steps on it. Aaron, what do you got for me?
Okay, so first, okay, but so never mind. So first you do 15 minus 10.
Very good. Why 15 minus 10?
Because that's in the parentheses.
Which are inside the bracket. So I looked at the brackets, then I looked at the parentheses. Okay, 15 minus 10.
And then you, since the 6 is in the brackets, you add that. Which is
Okay.
11.
Do I need the brackets anymore?
And then you do 11 times 5, which is 55.
Alright, I didn't tell you guys this one. We're gonna do
The Facebook.
2 claps and a fairy godmother. Fairy godmother goes bippity boppity boo. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's so amazing. Alright. Thumbs up if you feel comfortable with those 3.
Phones up.
Thumbs up. Not phones up. You got a phone? Put your phone up. Come on, Bonju, put your phone up. See what happens. Bonju's like, okay, phone up. Oh, I lost it now. Alright. Do you have questions though?
Yeah, should there be prizes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I might just give it to your whole group. I'll pause and I'll do.
We
Alright.
got it. What?
Example 2. This is the one I have to teach again. 30 divided by parentheses 7 plus 2 to the third parentheses times 6. What's the only thing you see different here?
An exponent.
Good, they added an exponent. It's really just one extra thing. Typically in elementary, we did order of operations without exponents. Just because that was pretty advanced for students to understand. We did exponents yesterday. So, here's how I would show my work. I would start off by saying I have to do my parentheses, 7 plus 2 to the third, and inside there, inside parentheses, I see 7 plus, but I also have an exponent. So I'm going to filter down 2 to the third power, which me on the side, I'd show my work. 2 times 2 times 2, which that's 4 times 2, which gives me 8. Now, do I still need my parentheses now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't simplify it all the way. Man, you guys are hard. 7 plus times, and then nothing changes. I have no exponents, but I still have my parentheses or brackets. So I simplify. 7 plus 8 is 15. Each time I rewrite my equation. I now check, should I do 30 divided by 15 or 15 times 6? Noah?
You should do 30 divided by 15 because that's the one that comes first.
Very good. Left to right, multiply or divide. And then we multiply. Not too much difference, right? Here's the thing. This is why I like order of operations. You look at this equation, 30 divided by parentheses 7 plus 2 to the third parentheses times 6. And to be honest, it looks a little overwhelming. You're like, holy cow. But if we just did it one step at a time, really all I did was I did 2 to the third power. I did that problem. And then it's like I said, number 2, can you do 7 plus 8? Oh, yeah. Third question I have you, can you do 30 divided by 15? Oh, yeah. Fourth question, can you do 2 times 6? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's simplified. All order of operations is doing, it takes one problem, like this was number 1, and it made it 4 problems you have to do. If you slow down and break it up, it becomes very simple. So, we are really close to done. Ooh, we're on good timing. We're going to do, let's do this. Let's do 4 and 6. Same thing, work with your group. When we're done, I just have to do 2 examples, and we're not going to do any other ones. So, I'll pause. Check with your group. Number 4 to 6. Raise your hands when you're done. Action. We're back to it. So, Who can explain number 4? 6 plus 2 to the 4th minus 1. Sonny, haven't heard from you for a while. What do you got first?
So first, since you have exponents, you do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. You do 16 plus 6 minus 1, which would be 22. Minus 1, which would be 21.
Awesome explanation. Any questions on that one? Let's do. What should we do for her? 2 claps and
Wiggle, wiggle.
2 claps and a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. 1, 2, 3.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Alright, number 6. Clinkenbeard. Oh, yes. I hope you get this right. Good. Exponent. Now this one, I'm going to stop you real quick, Clinkenbeard. This one's a little difficult because it's parentheses. But remember, I have to do my parentheses in it first. So like she just said, 5 times 5. I have to keep. Oops, I have to keep the rest of my statement. All right, Clinkenbeard, continue, please. Do I need my parentheses anymore? Got down to 1 number. Hold on. Why do I have 18?
Sorry. I thought you were adding 16.
Oh, okay. All right. Continue, Clinkenbeard. We're going to do our 2 claps in the pirate.
I did. I have this.
Ooh, it's a Captain Hook.
Ahoy, matey.
Ooh, we can do a point.
No, or a tap.
No,
I want to do something pirate related.
We'll do the R for now. Ooh, we can do 2 claps in the walk the plank.
Yeah.
Walk the plank R. 1, 2, 3.
Walk the plank.
That is awesome.
Wait, we need somebody to walk up on the ruler.
Alright, last 2. Alright, example 3. The last thing I'm going to be talking to you guys about is just special ones. Okay? I don't believe on our homework we're giving you any with a fraction in it. Okay? So we're not giving you a fraction in it. But here to the side, I'm just going to write down. If I give you the fraction 1 over 2, and I ask you to write that as a division problem, does anyone know what that would be? What's 1/2 as a division problem? 1 over 2 as division.
Well, what do you mean by division? Like 1/2 is the only factor in the.
The equation is 1/2.
Is it just 1 divided by 2?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
Now, if you had Miss Norval today, she was actually doing this because this is how you find percents. If I have a fraction, like today, your homework, I think there's 17 questions. If you get 15 right, they do 15 divided by 7. You got 15 over 17 correct. Then they do 15 divided by 17 gives you a decimal, which gives you a percent. Yes.
We actually have 17 questions on our homework.
Only a couple of review, and it's not hard.
You said.
I know. We will. We'll bump it down. We'll probably actually, because it's block scheduling, and you have an extra day, it'd probably be around 17. I always used to do just 10 when we had to do it the next day.
So we have an extra day tomorrow?
Yeah, remember, you have math every other day. Alright, so because of this, when I look at this equation, I have to first do my fraction. The fraction goes together. So if the fraction goes together, what are you going to put around it to make sure it stays together? Parentheses. However, is my numerator just one number? No, it's an equation itself, right? So on this one, I would take this 8 divided by 2, or 8 minus 2. And I would say 8 minus 2 in parentheses. That is my numerator. Now, what am I doing to my 8 minus 2? It's on the numerator, so what do we do with the denominator? We divide it. Our numerator divided by our denominator. So my numerator is 8 minus 2. I put it in parentheses because that stays together. That's my numerator. And I'm going to say divided by 3. Nope, not yet. We're setting up the equation. Okay, divided by 3. However, there's more to this equation, right? So because this is a fraction, I'm going to show the fraction with brackets. This is telling me this is a fraction. And I can still write my plus 9 over here. 9 plus. Which, if you look at this now, makes total sense. 9 plus my fraction. 9 plus my bracket is my fraction. Now, I just needed to introduce that to you. You're okay from that part, okay? We're not going to work it. Here's the last one I'm going to go over, and this will prove why Facebook people are idiots.
Question?
Yep, we're not even going to solve it. We're just going to do one step to it. Actually, 2 steps. And it's probably going to be 1 step. Okay, who can tell me, raise their hand, who thinks they know what the very first step should be? All right, what you got for me? Yeah, parentheses. There's a set of parentheses. So I'm going to filter down.
The Facebook people have.
They were mad at you since you're showing them how to do it.
They're like, how dare you talk about my face?
So they're mad at you, Mark Zuckerberg.
They're,
They're mad.
well, they are. Like, Mark Zuckerberg is like, don't you
Yeah,
talk about my
Mark
face.
Zuckerberg and
Alright.
Microsoft teamed up.
Alright, so 13 plus 7 is 20. Now we have to rewrite our equation, right? 10 minus 8. So is it 820 now?
No!
What do we do? What do I do? I need a little bit of space here. When that number is right outside parentheses. Because there's no sign. It doesn't show me if it's addition, or if it's subtraction, or if it's multiplication, or if it's division. But as mathematicians, we know this to be a fact. What does it mean if you put a number or a variable outside parentheses? Aaron? It means we will multiply. This means to multiply. Now I'm going to write the rest of the equation. The multiply is right there. If a number is outside parentheses, it means to multiply like we're doing the distributive property. We are going to stop there. Okay? You will see a couple like this in your homework. When you rewrite it, you just write it as multiplication. Now, I'm going to show you the Facebook problem. So, everyone, get their blank piece of paper in front of them.
Is this for homework?
Yes.
Is there a paper on our homework on big ideas?
Yes.
Is the Marco back? Wait, is the Facebook question our homework?
So,
Was that what the problem was?
Is the Facebook question our homework?
Which one was this? Oh, but remember, you do 16, right? So when I solve it, here. Hold on. I am going to work this one real fast, just because there was a question about it. So if I work this one quick, I would next do exponents. So that gives me 16. And I'd have 10 minus 8 times 20 divided by 16. But what's the next step? Hassani?
8 times 20.
Not right. 8 times 20 is 160. and I'd have divided by 16, 10 minus, and 160 divided by 16 is, good, 10. 10 minus 10 is,
Why do people say 1 or 9?
no, let's hit the Facebook one.
Ah, okay.
Okay, here's the Facebook. Okay, this is your work. You must turn this in on Friday. Your homework on Big Ideas is due by 7:30 Friday morning. It posted on Big Ideas. After 7:30, it goes to your overdue part in your assignments, and you lose credit on it. Well, you'll get some credit, but it's marked as late, so it'll count against you for points.
You put this behind our.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a second. Well, I'll say it now. These notes that you took, you put them in your Avid binder behind lesson 1 notes. Okay? So never lose them. All right. Remember, you put your name. First thing, we always put our heading. Your name, today's date, today's assignment. Chapter 1, lesson 2. All right. The reason we're doing the Facebook one is so we can make fun of anyone that we come across. And it shows you how I expect you to show your work today.
Hey, do we have to do it on ours?
Yes. Now, before I even start that,
Wait, is this credit?
no. Okay, before I even start that, your last lesson you turned in to me, I looked at you guys' work and papers. I did all the questions myself. This was my homework that I did from lesson 1.
Oh, on our test, can we check this one?
So, this was my homework that I did. I did the same one as you did on lesson 1. Do you notice how mine are spaced out and organized? Did I show work on every single question?
Every single question.
Yes, I can see.
Oh. Wait.
Wow.
No, you did 7 minutes ago.
No.
Good.
No.
So Bantu says, I went number 1, number 7. Let's guess 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were, what is 7 times 7 times 7? Well, 7 to the 3rd. I didn't have to show work. It was an observation thing. So, on today's, if you have to solve order of operations, you have to show your work. There's a couple review questions. You might not need to. There's a couple questions saying, is this number prime or composite? You won't have to do that either. Okay? Yes.
Do we have to write this down?
This part? No. This is the example.
Do we have to write like
Okay? This is what I expect your homework to look like when you turn it in tomorrow. Or on Friday. Okay, here's your example. First one we're doing together. You can write this one down with me.
Yeah.
The problem everyone argued with on Facebook was 6 divided by 2, parentheses 1 plus 2.
What? Wow.
Swear to you. There's a second one that was the same thing. It was like 8 divided by 2, and then 2 plus 2 or something. This is the problem they argued with. Now, who thinks they can lead us through this one? What is my first step? Zoe?
Your first step is parentheses.
Alright, so this is how I'm going to show my work today. I like to use one line for my funnel, just so everything stays organized. If you have better handwriting than me, you might go line by line. It's just I write sloppy. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 6 divided by 2. What do I do now? What goes between the 2 and 3? It's multiplying, right? Do I need the parentheses? No, because 1 plus 2 is 3. That goes away. What do I do next? Noah?
You're going to do 6 divided by 2.
Which is 3. Rewrite my problem.
They really argue.
3 times 3 is...
9.
How do you argue over this?
They get 50 years old.
This
How do you get 29?
is the correct answer.
But where did they get
A lot of people got 1, and the way they got 1 was they did
How do you do this?
They did this. They said 1 plus 2 is 3.
How can 6th graders get this right? And
But
adults
50
get
years
it wrong?
when they wrote it like this, they said, well, the 3's in parentheses, so you have to do parentheses first. So I do 2 times 3 is 6. And 6 divided by 6 is 1.
Stop it. You just
Stop it!
Yeah.
Jimmy,
My leg just
you
broke
are
because it's
stupid.
so angry.
I even got
Jimmy,
mad.
this is why you.
My one friend that's a teacher had even made the comment. She was, well, I thought it was 9, but I went to 1. I understand why you're saying 1. I think there's a good argument you can make about what you do with the parentheses. No! There is no argument about what you do with the parentheses. 1 plus 2 is in parentheses. You do that first. It's 3. Parentheses are done.
Their best is my mental.
Over. Left to right. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Alright. The rest is class time. You guys have 20 minutes to work. You guys did awesome. Open up big ideas. What must you do after every single question on big ideas? No, on the computer. Check it. Click, check. See if you got it right.
So will we have an average of like 15
We'll schedule your homework class.
Give us an average of 20 questions.
Huh?
Guys,
This day.
Your notes, it goes last.